I had my way, everything would be so nice. This world would be like Paris. No, it would be a paradise. No one would ever have to say, I'm gonna get my wish someday. All one would have to do is say, this is my order, if you may.
Welcome to another episode of the School Without Walls. I'm Antonio Hobbs, host and founder of this educational program. My guest today is Mr. Markeeven Jackson. He's a senior here at the university. He's from Lakeview, Arkansas, right?
Yes, sir.
Down nearly in the area where I was raised. I was raised in Lee County, which is adjoining to Phillips County, where we find Lakeview, right?
Yes, sir.
Before we go into more about your achievements and et cetera, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the goals of the School Without Walls. I have them listed here. We want to put emphasis on training, mainly the African American community, with emphasis on the male. Can you understand the significance of why I might have stressed the male rather than females?
Yes, sir.
The emphasis on the male, although we work with females too, but our emphasis is on the male. Why do you think so?
Because I would think the male figure of any household, any community, any type of leadership position would be, he's dominant and say he's looked up to.
He should be at least.
It should be looked up to.
Right.
And it's gone missing.
Right, it's missing now. And I'll just add to that, and if we look at our society, the male has a responsibility of providing for the female and the children. A female is a helper, but she doesn't have that charge responsibility by the law. So we want to strengthen the family in that sense. Also, we want to encourage more marriages rather than having babies out of wedlock.
Yes, sir.
That is weakening all families, but my main concern is charity begins at home, trying to deal with my part of this problem, the black family. Although statistics teach us that about 70% of the African American children are born out of wedlock, whereas it's down around 50-some% of whites. It's bad both ways, but we have a greater problem, you see. So we want to train the male. Now, we also deal in education. There's a difference between training and education. Do you know the average person doesn't understand that? What is your understanding on the difference in training and education? You haven't just, you don't worry about being right or wrong, just give me your opinion.
Okay.
There's a difference.
Education will come from a mental aspect. I'm learning what to do.
Okay.
Education, training would be more of a physical aspect.
Excellent,
I'm
excellent.
learning.
Stop right there. Let me go from there. Yeah, a lot of people don't understand that. You train the little child the way it should go, right?
Yes, sir.
There's a scripture that says when it's old, it will what? Not depart. But you can't educate a little child the way it should go because it doesn't have the tools and the mental capacity to be educated, but it can be trained. And you train it to use the pot, right?
Yes, sir.
You don't educate, you can educate them later to make a pot. But, so we need more training. Now, this is another one that's, I'm dealing with thought because I'm trying to provoke thought out there. What is causing a lot of our youngsters not to be trained? What do you think some factors are out there that we got to correct? They're not being trained when they're small. They're just growing up.
Well,
I mean, in a positive way. They're being trained.
Yes, sir.
Like trained to steal, trained to use profanity, trained to disrespect. They're trained, but I don't mean that. I mean positive training.
I think it's the lack of leadership.
Lack of leadership where?
Parenting.
The first is parenting.
Yes,
That's
everything
where it
starts at home.
At home.
And then, in the same breath, the community.
The community. That's the school, isn't it? From the parents?
From the school to the officials to the people that are in the community.
Okay.
From
all should be involved, right?
In the community,
Kind of like a village?
Yes, sir.
That's excellent, excellent. And so that's the liking. So what we want to do, if we want to correct some of the problems, we got to establish, we have the system, but we've got to encourage people to buy into the system, right?
Right.
Because the church is a part of the training system, right?
Yes, sir.
We have the public schools as part of the training system, and all of the officials have gone through the public school, and hopefully they've gone by church.
Right.
Yeah. So that's where we got to start with the training. So what we're doing, we're emphasizing training young people from the age of 10 to 15. We have stat that says that once a child passes 15, if you have a choice of training a younger person, work with the younger person. Because the older person is almost a little late.
Set in his
You
mind.
can't deal with both of them, go with the younger. So we want to encourage people like you, model student, model young man, to use your influence dealing with your peer group. The male, I know it's not easy to respect that which does not respect itself. I'm saying that about a lot of our females. They're not respecting themselves, but do the best you can
Yes, sir.
to try to respect them. You understand?
Yes, sir.
But you know, we live in a time now, I've been around enough to know that a lot of them use profanity. Do you know that? Females.
Yes, sir.
Use profanity just like I wasn't thought of when I was a child.
And men using profanity around women.
Yeah, men use it around women. My point is this: if a woman doesn't respect herself, it's pretty easy for a man not to respect her. We want to train men to, in spite of that, still respect them, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I believe it's nearing break time here. If we have 1 minute, when we come back after break, we're going to spend more time on education. We talked about training, which is a process that you deal where there are, how do we define training? Do you remember?
Yes, sir. It's the physical aspect of learning.
Right, the
Yes, sir.
physical aspect of learning, whereas we're going to deal with the more academic aspect from education. So, let's see, it's up. So we're going to be right back after the break.
Hey, this job looks perfect. It says you need people skills,
Check.
driver's license,
Check.
and a high school diploma. You've got one of those, right?
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
I got that.
You are good to go.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
No permita que la salmonela baile en su pollo. Este año aproximadamente 1 de cada 6 norteamericanos se enfermará por causa de alimentos contaminados, así que aprenda las temperaturas correctas para cocinar cada tipo de carne. Aprenda cómo mantener a su familia sana en foodsafety.gov.
Those of you who have just joined us, I'm Antonio Hobbs, host of this program called The School Without Walls. My guest is Mr. Markeeven Jackson, senior here at the university, and he's from Lakeview, Arkansas. On the other side of the break, we were talking about training, but we're going to detour a little bit and talk about Markeeven. You said you were born there in Lake Village. Were you raised by parents or grandparents?
I was born in Lakeview, and I was raised by my mother, my grandmother, and a host of aunts.
Kind of the village situation
Yes,
again,
sir.
right? Village
Yes, sir.
situation. And you graduated from the Lake Village High School there?
No, sir. I think back in 2005, Lakeview School got closed, got shut down. We consolidated with Barton High School,
I
a
remember
predominantly
that.
white high school.
I remember that.
And I graduated from Barton.
From Barton, about 15 to 20 miles from Lakeview Center, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've been there because, like I said, I'm from Lee County, so I've been in Barton. Barton had a good football team for years, didn't it?
Yes, sir.
Still
do.
You still do?
Yes, sir.
Tell me about Barton and football. Okay, and then you decided to come here. Did you come right from Barton to college?
Yes, sir.
What happened you picked UAPB when you could have gone to many other schools?
Well, you want to be around people that's like you and successful, that's already successful. That's encouragement to get to where you want to go and get to where they are. My brother attended the university. He's getting his master's here at the university. My dad attended this university and got his received his master's here at this university. My mom went to Philander Smith, and that's another HBCU.
Right.
So I had the HBCU blood running through my veins, and I just decided to come here where I knew some of the instructors, and I knew some of my peers from surrounding areas were coming here, and it's a family environment. The village where I come from is transpired.
Right,
Oh,
you're
yes,
right.
sir.
That's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Your daddy, about when was he here? What is his name?
Thomas Jackson.
Thomas Jackson. About what age of man is he?
He's
Okay.
about 63.
About 60,
Yes,
63
sir.
or something like that. Is he still living?
Yes, sir.
Where is he living now, working? I wonder if I'd met him.
He just retired out of West Helena school system. He's still doing taxes. A family franchise business, Pac-Man. You probably are familiar with Pac-Man Bells Bondsman. Well, he runs Pac-Man Bells Bondsman in Phillips County and Pac-Man Taxable.
I might have run across him. Sometime you see him, ask him if he's acquainted with me since I'm older.
Yes,
I've
sir.
been involved in a lot of things where people know me that I don't know them personally.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you graduating this May, are you?
No, sir. I'm graduating next December. I picked up a minor a little late, so it tacked on a couple.
What is your major and minor?
My major is criminal justice, and I'm minor in psychology.
That's an excellent combination. Excelente. We say in Spanish, excelente. I encourage all students to consider a double major if possible. Once you come this way, I'm going to say this for Randy. You know, Randy understands Spanish. They say in Spanish, pasamos por aquí solamente una vez. We pass this way only one time. And as you pass, try to get all the gooses that you can.
Yes, sir.
Work a little bit harder, but it certainly pays off. I'm a living example. See, I have a double major. And,
Yes, sir.
that helped me in a lot of ways. So you can't do that being lazy, though, can you?
No, not at all.
You have to work for it. You have to earn it. So let's get back to our purpose as a school without walls. We talked about training briefly, and the next is education and then economics. That's the order in which you acquire economics. If you're not properly trained and educated, you're not likely to have much in the economic arena, right?
Yes, sir.
So let's talk a little bit about education. Oh, I forgot something. Let me go back to the training. We want to train them in their moral values, the danger of unwed pregnancy. So that requires training on the parts of the male. You see, females just can't impregnate females.
Right.
And as I say, it's difficult the way they dress and behave today, but we still need to be strong enough to recognize how detrimental it is to have children out of wedlock, because it's almost, if you don't have a village like you're blessed to have, which so many don't have anymore, it's poverty is the future. Poverty. So we encourage the pastors and all people of influence to help protect our females and theft. I was trained not to steal. Yeah, I was trained from a child, not educated not to steal. I was trained not to steal. And we want to instill in our young people at a very early age, it's better to work for something or ask for it than to steal.
Yes,
Take
sir.
something that somebody has earned is very bad. And then, of course, murder, taking one's life. We certainly know that's a no-no.
It's not ours to give, not ours to take.
That's right. And we have importance of being connected to a higher power of God at church. This time is really flying. We only have 2 more minutes in this segment. So education, the importance of trade schools. We all don't need necessarily college degrees. We're not even geared for it, but good education can be a good plumber.
Yes, sir.
We are needed. We need plumbers, good mechanic. What else? Beautician, mortician.
Yes, sir.
There's so many ways to make a decent living in this community if you're educated properly.
And you brought up a thing. Before my dad came here, he was an electrician. He works on air and heat. So he learned that trade before he came to the 4-year institution.
Right,
to
and
get
he can
his-
make a living. That's the first
Yes,
part
sir.
of business. I imagine he worked during the time he was in college and earned money by doing that type of work.
Yes, sir.
Every city has that. We have 1 more minute on our education to inform parents of the importance of their children taking all the trades classes in high school. You know, we used to have high schools that all of them had trade schools, but they're cutting trades out of schools for some reason. I don't know why. But here over here at Pine Bluff High has a trade school as well as the other school or district. But a lot of places they don't have it anymore. We need that. And of course, when we come back, we're going to talk about economics. Economics. Break. Be right back.
Looks like it's done.
Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So learn the right temperature to cook each type of meat. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
Those of you who just joined us, I'm Antonio Hobbs, host and founder of this educational program called The School Without Walls. My guest today is Mr. Markeeven Jackson, a senior here at the university. I want to ask you a question and see what comes in mind. I want you to tell me exactly what comes to your mind when you hear this. Ferguson.
Frustration.
Frustration.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Why Ferguson, then frustration?
Well, you know, people get upset when they are not heard.
When they're not heard?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
When they're not heard. You can think of it this way. Barbarians fight because they couldn't communicate.
Excellent, right.
So the people of Ferguson are rioting because they feel like their word wasn't transpired or their word didn't get through.
Right.
So they weren't heard. I would say it's not right in any aspect. It's not right to loot, riot,
and steal, kill.
It's not right. But I understand. I'm not justifying it, but I do understand.
I see. All right, now tell us, why is it, I do too, why is it you can understand it? Why can you understand the frustration of the people in a situation like that?
It's been years of it. It's been years of
abuse,
misuse.
And nothing you feel you can do about it. I mean, those ones who are frustrated and looting and doing the wrong thing, I feel that they are helpless and they just strike out.
The only way you know, you lash out. Yes, sir.
And now, what can we do to perhaps make the future better? That's what we want.
Education.
The right education, right? The right education.
I feel as if you educate yourself and you understand that I'm an American, he's an American, she's an American. We all have the same constitutional rights. You cannot misuse me. You can't abuse me if I know
my rights.
My rights. If I know what I can and cannot do, you can't do those same things that I can and cannot do.
I see. That makes a lot of sense what you're saying. Now, in the case of the situation at this particular city, is that isolated to Ferguson, or do we have similar problems throughout the USA?
We have the similar problems throughout the United States, and a big thing was in that case, a lot of witnesses. It was hearsay, she say, or I think. None of that information was admissible, so you can't hold the officer accountable to that. That's just being black and white.
I see.
On a moral standpoint, it was wrong, but on the
legal thing.
Yes, you can't use that. Oh, I heard that he shot twice and he took off running, or I heard, or I saw, but I turned around because I got scared. You can't use that.
You cannot use that in the
Court
of law. I see. How much time do we have, Randy? We have 4 minutes, and I want to conclude with my take on what we can do in the lines of education. First of all, the date. I think it's important for us to make the date. This happened in the decision was made yesterday, was it? The 25th?
Yesterday night, yes, sir.
25th of November 2014. Since this is a historical.
Night before last.
Night before last. So this is historical.
It's on the 24th.
24th. This is a historic thing when that decision was made.
That night.
Now, the frustration, I understand that, but we're dealing with education. Now, when I was a child, a small child, policemen, all the policemen were white. There was a black policeman anywhere in the South. And very few black folks were beaten by white policemen. Do you have any idea why? Because they were taught to respect the authority, the power. They were taught that. So as we leave this program, we want to be sure that our people out there teach you, especially your boys, the girls can get away with it a little bit better. That'd have been a girl that, whatever he did. For example, if the policeman, I don't care how mean he is, said, would you leave the street and go to the sidewalk? You know, they should have left the street and gone to the sidewalk. Okay, that would have prevented death. So we want to teach respect and authority. Respect and authority. I can't overemphasize. Respect the power of authority.
Not just authority, people.
Yeah, but especially those who have the power to kill you. You want to respect everybody, but you definitely want to survive. You're not going to go up to a policeman and slap him side the head where you might slap your peer. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
I'm just using that for an example. And my generation learned that well from their mothers. That's the key teacher. You're not going to find a better teacher than a good mother. So they taught us that now the policeman, yes, the policeman will kill you. So what you do, be polite if you have any encounter with the policeman. But we have thousands of young African-American males, and I taught that today. They think they can talk to the policeman like they talk to their mama, for example. A lot of them respect their mothers, you understand?
Yes, sir.
They respect their peers. So we got about another minute, so can you kind of also give some positive strokes toward what we can do to prevent the policeman from having a reason to want to kill us? Like we stop you on traffic. What are you going to do?
Respect them, and have your T's crossed and your I's dotted.
Both hands on the steering wheel.
You can't do anything to me if I'm not in the wrong.
Right, and they just don't generally do that. You don't hear a case. So you know what happened? A young man was walking down the street, attending to the business, the police, one of them shot him. It doesn't happen that way. Something they have done to show disrespect. Not saying that it should be that way, but that's the way it is, right?
Yes, sir. And I've gotten off with a couple of tickets just because sheer respect.
I have too.
Yes,
I
sir.
really have. I'm reminded of a patrolman that even when I was a youngster, your age, he stopped me, and I was polite, and he talked to me real nice and said, "Be careful, young man." You know, I didn't act ugly, so. It's important. It's nice to be nice.
Right.
So we have about another minute here, and you can say whatever you like to say, and I'm going to give you the last word.
I just would like to thank you for having me on your show, thinking enough of me to have me on your show, and go Golden Lions.
All right, and keep the faith, okay?
Yes, sir.
And be safe during this holiday.
Yes, sir.